Hello, unstoppable real estate investors. I am Rayana Starr, and I'm your host of my podcast, Unstoppable Real Estate Investor. And I have a really wonderful guest with me today, and his name is Guy. What's your last name? Guy Brown.
Brown.
And,
Yeah.
and he is coming all the way from Australia. And where do you live in Australia, Guy?
Brisbane in Queensland.
Brisbane and Queensland area. Graham Solomon, I'm going to tag you in this. You guys got to hook up. So anyway, Guy accepted my invitation to come on my podcast and be one of my guests on my podcast. And so before we get started, Guy, this podcast, I do my Unstoppable Real Estate Investor podcast on Wednesdays at noon. And I've been doing them live. And I realized that because I'm doing them live, that video gets embedded in Facebook. And what I want to do is have more control of these videos. So I've started doing them pre-recorded so that I can put them on my YouTube channel. And so please just go ahead and make comments as you're watching this, because Guy will be tagged on this, and we will be looking for the comments. And that's how we're going to be doing them all in the future too. So they won't be live, but they will be a podcast. And we're doing this to add value to you in the community so you can learn from different people who have different expertise. Now, Guy lives in Australia, and yet he, like most Aussies, he wants to be investing in the United States and wants to live here, and Aussies love Americans and Americans love Aussies. So it's a match made in heaven. So, Guy, I wanted to ask you, what were you doing before you got into real estate?
I've been a long a while, well, quite a few years ago. I used to be a personal trainer, and I've worked in sales probably for almost 20 years all up. So I've sold a bit of everything. So I used to, sell insurance, mobile phones, you name it, I've sold it. So I've been a salesman for a long time. And I used to own a gym in Brisbane for a little bit as well. And I sold that off, and then got more into real estate basically and decided to set my own business up. So that's what happened.
So, what prompted the shift of selling those businesses to get into real estate?
There was just a better work-life balance, and the opportunity I saw there was a bit of a gap in the market in a particular area, and I thought, well, I'll take advantage of that. And yeah, I just thought I was going to earn a lot more money working in real estate than I would if I owned a gym, because gyms are quite an expensive setup, and I was working till 10 o'clock at night and things like that, and yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. Whereas real estate is more 9 to 5 hours and things like that. And I don't really work at weekends anymore. I have people that work for me, and they work at weekends, so I don't work weekends anymore. So that's pretty good.
And you own, in the United States, we call it a brokerage, but
Hmm.
you call it a principal in a real estate company. So
Yes.
how big an operation is it? How many agents do you have working for you?
So at the moment we've got, I think it's about 37 agents and about 20 finance brokers that work for the company. So my target is 100 finance brokers and 100 real estate agents, and I'm trying to get to that by
So you
sort
have
of
the lending and the real estate all under one roof.
yeah, I do both. The real estate agents, they specialize in selling brand new properties, so house and land packages and brand new apartments and things like that. And the finance side it's a network of finance brokers in different states, and we basically, as we get leads coming in, people inquiring about buying a house and land package or something like that, we always pass their details on to one of the finance brokers, and then that way they can cross-check it for us to make sure that that person's a genuine buyer, that they've actually applied for finance and they're going to try and go ahead with the sale. So that was the reason why we started working with a lot more finance brokers, because a couple of years ago, I really overwhelmed one. Like I had just one finance broker, and she was getting like 500 leads, and it was like whoa. So yeah, so I just what I decided to do was build a network of finance brokers, and then we don't really take a lot of money off them. We just it's like a referral thing. They pay us a little bit of an admin fee to basically get leads and stuff like that from us, but it
Yeah,
helps us.
that's a Rolls Royce problem when you have someone saying, "Oh my God, it's too much, too many leads."
Yeah, too many leads. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that is a bit of a first world problem, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
what
yeah,
about your own? So you invested in a real estate company. So there's your first real estate investment.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what
that's right.
about what kind of deals do you invest in just personally?
Well, I would always I'd buy something in Australia that would be things like a 422, so a four-bedroom, two-bathroom, double garage house, like a low set house, because they're easy to rent, and they're not relatively inexpensive. And the other thing is as well, because I work with a lot of builders and developers across the country, I'm sort of privy to information that other people aren't. So I'll get something like an email from somebody in WA in Perth, and it'll be considerably cheaper to invest over there than it would be, say, in Queensland. So it might be $200,000 cheaper for the exact same size property that you'd get in
Well,
Queensland.
yeah, because Perth is way on the other side of the country,
Yeah,
right?
on the other side, and it's an up and coming place, but Queensland's had a property boom over the last 2 years. So to give you an example, you could buy a 422 at something like 475 2 years ago, and now it's more like 675. So it's really jumped up.
Very similar to the United States. But
Yeah,
have you noticed? I don't know if it's just the US economy, but have things been slowing down over there? Are interest rates going up
yeah.
over there? Are things slowing down? So it's not just the US.
No, it's not definitely not just the US. The interest rates have been like zero for a long time over here, and 0% and all that sort of stuff. And they went up to 2 point something,
See, a
2.75.
2 point something here is like
Yeah,
we're the record lows, and now we're hovering somewhere. I don't know. I haven't
yeah.
checked this week, but between 6 and 7.
So we saw in I'm just trying to think which month it was. Probably September going into October, it dropped off a cliff, the leads that were coming in and everything else. And I think what happened was people were waiting to see how much it was going to go up again. A lot of inquiries that we're getting at the moment are people that are going to wait till January next year before they actually buy. So they want to
It's
buy
that
something.
time of year anyway. They do that anyway this time of year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so you invest in 4 bedroom, 2 baths, you get in on deals that no one else hears of. Are you investing in Perth because you see it as the next real estate boom?
I probably would look into it, yeah, because I've signed up a few new builders recently, and there's some really good deals there at the moment in comparison. And I know it's going to have a lot of capital growth in a very short space of time. So yeah, I probably would look at Perth. Um, Queensland's done pretty well out of Queensland, but yeah, if you want to sort of make your money go a little bit further, then I would go with Perth. And yeah, the four-bedroom properties, they're easy to resell, and they're what everybody wants. They want that sort of size house to rent if you like. So yeah, I would
So
go with
four
that.
bedroom, 2 baths are like 3 bedroom, 2 baths in the United States. That's that's
Yeah, I would say
that's the
so.
house everybody's looking for.
Yeah, the standard of living in Australia is pretty high because if you can imagine, there's not the same kind of competition. Like in America, you're over 300 million people live in America, but I think there's around about 26, 27 million people live in Australia. So it's tiny. And you've got this huge country that's the size of Europe with all these resources. So everybody earns, a minimum of $50,000 a year as a basic amount of money, really. And everybody can afford a house, and then they buy an investment property as well. So everybody's quite wealthy here. I'm not saying there's no poor people, there are still people that are hard up, but in a comparison to what it's like in America, where there's a lot more competition and it's harder to sort of go up in the world, it's very easy in comparison.
Yeah, and so tell me, as far as investing goes, have you just pretty much bought rental properties, passive income properties, or have you done any rehabbing of projects or any other strategies besides just
Uh,
buying rental portfolio properties?
yeah, the only other thing is that what we have over here that comes up is stuff that's called NDIS properties, which is sponsored by the government, and that's for people that are disabled. So what happens is if you buy that property, and now it could be an existing property or a brand new one, doesn't really matter. Um, the government will subsidize the rent if it's left empty for any time at all. So, like, let's say somebody's living there and then they move out and it's empty for 6 weeks. The government will step in and pay that rent for those 6 weeks. So there's things like that that are available.
Wow. Yeah, here, not in all states. It's a state by state thing. There's
Yeah,
either HUD housing and urban development homes that are government subsidized, or Section 8 housing for really
right.
low income people. And some
Yeah,
states have it and some don't. North Carolina, they have Section 8, and Arizona, they don't. So, um,
yeah,
but the government doesn't come in and pay you if, uh, you know, that apartment or that house is empty. But what they
mm,
do is you have a certain rent level, and the formula is that the rent isn't more than 30% of the Section 8 housing participant because they're
right.
low income. And
Yeah,
then you agree to a certain rent rate that's lower than you would typically charge, but
yeah,
the government's coming in and subsidizing what the gap is from what that low income person can pay and what your rent is for that low income. So you do get subsidized, but just not the same way.
yeah. I understand. Yeah, I'm with you.
So
Okay,
you're
cool.
investing in those types of properties as well?
Yeah, so I'd look at something like that because it's got a high rental yield and it's a fairly safe thing and it's backed by the government and that kind of thing. And they're pretty rare to get. So if you get the chance to buy one, you buy one basically because they're not
Right.
always available everywhere.
So how long have you been in real estate as a broker, and how are you doing with your rental?
Uh, I've been in real estate for about 11 years and I set this business up in 2018. And yeah, as I say, I specialize in brand new developments basically in a nutshell. So I don't do a lot of, well, I don't really do any normal residential sales. So my business, for example, we don't do uh, door knocking and flyers and cold calling and all that
Oh,
sort of
you
stuff.
work with developers.
Yeah. So we have all the stuff we advertise is all on the internet, and then it's all inbound leads that come to us, and then we
So it's
basically
all
try and
passive marketing.
yeah, yeah. It's just we've got people that are based overseas, and they sit there and they upload properties onto different platforms for us, and we just advertise in all sorts of different ways. And yeah, we just deal with the clients that are looking to invest or first time buyers, people like that,
And
basically.
it's all developments in Australia.
Yeah, I'm looking to take the business into the USA next year, and we're possibly looking into going over to Singapore to find some investors there, and also Dubai as well. So just playing it by ear at the moment.
Well, yeah, and Singapore, isn't that one of the wealthiest cities in the world?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of
A
money
lot of
there.
money
I think
there.
someone who's poor is a millionaire there.
Yeah,
Isn't it like that? Pretty
yeah. I
much.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, I've got
Yeah.
a business development manager, and she used to live in Singapore, and she said she's got a lot of connections there, so we'll send her over to Singapore. I've got a lady that I'm in business with that's connected to Grant Cardone. Do you know who Grant Cardone is?
Yeah. I do. He's actually, him and his team is coming into a company that I work with right now
Oh,
to
okay.
restructure the whole company, all the
Oh,
different departments, analyze it all. So yeah, we're
magic.
getting intimately acquainted with him, not me
Yeah,
directly, but our company. Yeah.
big company. Yeah. So she's connected with him. She's done the training. I think she represents him in Australia or something. But she's just flown over to Dubai to go to some big event that he's sort of connected with. So she might be able to bring us back some investors from Dubai as well. So I do
You're
a lot of
going to the
sort of things.
right places for money.
Yeah, you've got to go where the money is, haven't you?
Yeah. Good for you. Well,
Yeah.
so what have been your biggest challenges with regard to your real estate company and investing in real estate yourself?
Um, I think the biggest challenge for the real estate company is finding good sales agents. So you get a lot of people that talk a big game and then they don't deliver. And we do generate a lot of leads, and we basically hand everything to everybody on a plate, and then it's a bit soul destroying when you haven't got a good enough agent that will follow through and
How
get a deal done.
frustrating. I mean, you're feeding them. Come
Yeah,
on, carry your weight. Right.
yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that. Um, Investment wise, I don't really have much of a problem in that area because, as I say, I've got an inside track on what's going on.
So you're
So
not grunting and grinding like a lot of real estate investors where you're grunting and grinding to generate leads. They're just coming to you through your real estate
they,
company.
yeah, they come to us, but as I say, it's a different sort. It's sort of one of those things where I've been a regular real estate agent and I've done the grinding part and knocking on doors and working every weekend and all that sort of stuff. And I thought to myself, well, there's got to be a better way to do this where I've always got stock and I can generate leads. And the lead generation came as a bit of a learning curve because when I first started, I was only putting a few adverts up. But I'm not kidding you, you have to put like 1,000 adverts on to get any kind of result. Once you're up to that level, like at the moment, we're advertising $1.3 billion worth of real estate in Australia.
Wow.
So and you get like 35 leads a day. and you, but so the
I'll
more you
come
put
work for you.
up, yeah, you're welcome to.
Let me know
You
when you hit
do
the
some work.
US. Let's stay in touch.
Yeah, sure.
So is there
Yeah,
anything you want to say, like words of wisdom? Like if you were to jump on that roof behind you
yeah.
and you were to shout out to the world
The cartoon route. Yeah.
advice and they would really listen to you, what would that be for specifically real estate investors?
I think for real estate investors, I think, um, to work with somebody that's very well educated in that field and also to look further afield and have a diverse property portfolio. So, for example, if you're in America, don't just invest in the state that you live in. Look at other states and other opportunities and have a diverse portfolio and possibly look to invest overseas. But if you are going to invest overseas, probably pick a country where they speak English as the first language. You know what I mean? If you don't speak a foreign language, if you don't speak Spanish, it's probably not a good idea to invest in Spain because you're going to have to deal with these people and it might be problematic. So I'd always say to somebody, if you're going to take something overseas, then pick a
Yeah,
country where they
Europe,
speak
New
English.
Zealand,
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah, the UK, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to think outside the box and diversify what you invest in. So it's great to go with what you know, but it's also if you to keep yourself safe if anything does happen. If you've got a diverse portfolio of investment properties in multiple locations, then you've got a bit of a backup there just in case. So I think I'm trying to think what it's called, something like risk aversion
Yeah.
investment or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so your rooftop message would be to diversify.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think, as I say, well, I'm looking at the other side of the country to invest myself, so I'm
yeah.
not just sticking with Queensland. I'm talking about something that's a 5 hour flight away on the other side of the country, and I'll still look at it because I don't
Your
physically have to.
interest because if one market tanks, you're hedging your bets with the different
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Plus,
And yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go on.
No, go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say, plus, if you want to go on holiday somewhere nice, you've got a house, haven't you? If it's empty,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go
One of my
straight.
clients, just recently, they lost electricity in their house. They had gone away for a weekend for some family thing.
Oh yeah,
And when they came back, and they're up in Michigan, so it was cold. They lost all their electricity and had been off
oh,
for hours. And so he's like, calls me up and he goes, "Well, I'm getting my rental together, my schoolhouse rental, so we can all stay here until the electricity gets on." So he gets in there and he's doing all kinds of stuff, and the electricity went on back at the house. He's like, "Darn
okay,
it, now I have to clean up my mess." And we're not, because it's a short-term rental. So,
yeah,
but it was just, I said, yeah, it's nice that you own that, that
yeah,
you have a backup house if you need it.
exactly, exactly. Well, imagine if you've got a backup house in another country and you've got to do a runner. There you go.
Yeah, you just
You've
have
got somewhere to
vacation
escape to.
houses everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that your ultimate dream?
I think as the more I'm in business and everything else, the more I think you start to think more internationally. Like I'm originally from the UK, and I emigrated over to Australia. I'd say about, I think it's almost 12 years ago now. And yeah, you start to sort of think, well, I could live in Australia for so many months out of the year, then I could go live somewhere else. I could do this, I could do that. So I think the more you think outside the box, the more international you become, if you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm probably steering more towards that because we've had COVID for 2 years and I haven't been allowed to leave. You know what I mean? I've been
Yeah.
stuck here. So
So why do you want to move to the US at some point?
I wanted to take the business over there because it's such a huge market. I've got a young guy working for me, Aaron, in West Virginia, and he did a lot of research for me. And we found that there wasn't a business that was exactly the same as mine. So I thought, oh well, there is an opportunity there, and that
Well,
is part of
especially if you're going to do the same model that you're doing
yeah.
there totally is a market for you. Although there are real estate brokers
Mm,
that that's not the only thing they do is work with developers and sell a development.
yeah. I
They
think what we
they'll do
found,
other things too, but if that were your specialty, then the next step is for you to find out who all the big developers are
yeah,
in the states that you want to be in and
yeah,
start
that's right.
talking to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be the plan, sort of like 10 developers per state. So you're looking at 500 developers to cover the whole of America. It's quite a big task to get it off the ground. And then you'd need a high volume of agents and finance brokers to work with to cope with what you were doing. So it's a big
Have
job.
you considered EXP agents?
I've already I steal the XP agents from here. So yeah, I do that all the time. And they're a bit hit and miss. EXP in Australia's only been here for about 2 years or something like that, and they're still finding their feet.
Yeah.
So there's another similar company here that's called App Realty. It's an Australian company, and they do the same kind of thing. But yeah, if you want to recruit people quickly, then yeah, I'd go to EXP. I'd try and pick some of those people up because they're big in America, aren't they? I think aren't they in the top 10 in America or something?
I don't know where they rank, but yeah,
They're pretty. It's a bit of a pyramid scheme, I think. EXP is a little bit, isn't it?
yeah, it very much
Yeah,
is. And I wouldn't
yeah.
call it scheme, it's legit. But
It's legit. Yeah,
it's like multi-level marketing, and the way they're doing it is building a team. You're getting an override commission on your team.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They do the same thing here. I think
Which breeds you being interested in what other people are doing and what they've got going for them. If people get on the right team, the model is with EXP is that you're getting really good support and training and leadership, but all EXP teams aren't that way. It really depends on the team you're in, but
yeah,
apparently their model is meant to operate that way where you're getting more training and mentorship and being on a team. Yeah, you can all work for a Keller Williams and say you're on the Keller Williams team, but those agents aren't working as a team. They're just
no,
put their license somewhere and they're all competing with each other.
yeah.
Whereas if
It's
you do build a team, anyone on your team under you who's getting a deal, you're winning. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, I worked at a Remax once in Australia, and they had they didn't really work for Remax. What happened was that I think they probably got about 10 people in the office, and five of them decided to club together and start their own Remax office, literally 2 miles down the road from the one where they worked in. So there's no loyalty. They just went, "We'll set up our own
No
franchise."
loyalty among
Bye.
thieves. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They just went down the road kind of thing, and like cleared half
That's
this
like a
office out.
smack in the face. It's like, if you're gonna go and start up, don't go down the street, you little jerks.
Yeah,
Go for
like, but at least go with another company.
yeah.
Like, at least go with Al J. Hooker or Ray White or somebody. Don't go with sodding Remax. And then Remax don't care. They were just, oh yeah, yeah, by all means, set another franchise up, more money for us. Thank you very much. So they've got no scruples either. They were like,
Yeah.
whatever.
One more
So yeah,
franchise fee for them. Yeah.
the franchise fee, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I thought the EXP thing was pretty clever. I like the fact that they can work from home and all that sort of stuff. I think that's progressive. I think that's the way things
The
going really.
virtual
Honest.
work, virtual
Yeah,
reality. So
yeah.
what's your hope and your plan for moving operations to US, and would you move to the US to run it?
I think I'd have to initially come over for a while to get it all off the ground, and then I'd probably play it by ear after that.
If you
Because
liked the US, you would stay. Otherwise, would you go back to the UK or Australia?
no, I wouldn't. I would never go back to the UK. It's too cold and wet. No
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah,
I live in, I live,
the climate in Australia.
yeah, I live in a tropical paradise here, so no, I'm not going back to the UK.
Yeah,
That's like
I'm not going to go back to dank, cold, foggy
no,
weather. No, thank you.
that's like
Paradise? Hell. Hmm.
let me have a think. It's a bit like moving from Detroit to the Bahamas and going, would you move back to Detroit? Nah, not really.
Yeah.
Like, because where I'm from is very kind of an industrial kind of town, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Bit like Detroit. So there you go.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right, well, Guy. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I don't want to cut you off. Sorry. I think you were gonna. I think you were gonna wrap it up. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
we pretty
yeah.
much
I
covered
just wanted
everything.
to say it's been a pleasure meeting you and hearing about your plans. Let's definitely stay in touch when you
Yeah,
do start
for
making
sure.
it this way. I'd love to get to meet you.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I'd
should put
like
you
to.
and Graham Solomon in touch with each other. And
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'm happy to work with him if he can help me. If he wants to sell some stuff off the plan, some development stuff, then yeah, happy days. So I'll give him 500 leads. He'll be happy as Larry, won't he? So
yeah, I don't know if that's what he's interested in, but it doesn't hurt to know people. And
yeah,
yeah, he's more of a traditional investor, but you
yeah,
never know. He could be, or it's just having another friend in real
yeah,
estate, you know?
yeah.
So,
No,
well,
good. I
thanks
like
so much, Guy Brown from Australia and the
it.
Queensland and Melbourne, Queensland and
No, I'm in Brisbane.
Brisbane
Brisbane,
area.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
I look forward to when you come out our way and have
yeah,
fun in down under and in that tropical paradise. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for taking time, because he's 13 hours ahead of me.
Yeah, it's
So
13.
figuring
Yeah.
out the time, we started at 7:30 p.m. my time on a Wednesday evening to do it
Yeah.
at 11:30, no, 10:30 in the morning his time on
Yeah.
Thursdays.
Yeah. So I'm
All right.
in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
tomorrow there with you, and it's yesterday here for
yeah, that's right. That's right.
you're in my
You want
tomorrow and I'm in your
to,
yesterday.
yeah. Well, if you ever come over to Australia, you literally time travel into the
Yeah, you
future.
literally do. Yeah. All right, Guy, it was a pleasure meeting you. Hi, everybody. And this is just one more episode of the Unstoppable Real Estate Investor podcast. Bye, everybody.
Thanks again. Cheers. Bye bye.
Let me, oops.